Good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm Wayne. Welcome to Wednesdays with Wayne, brought to you by the Real Estate Business School, where you get your license and learn to use it. This is the learn to use it part. Before we get, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is your license guarantees you nothing. If you're licensed, you know that. So you have to learn how to use it. A real estate license, like any other license, a driver's license, a medical license, electrical, plumber, whatever it is, it's just a tool. And like any tool, unless you understand and know how to use it, it's useless. So we teach you more than just how to get a license, because there's more to real estate than getting a license. We teach you how to use it. So when I say this is the use it part, that's what I mean. These courses pick up where the licensing courses leave off. Licensing courses are great. They're a great foundation, but you just need more than that. So it's professional and personal development at a higher level. And so, as my mentor, Bucky Fuller, used to say, humans are evolutionary events, continuously evolving. And some of us are devolving, and some of us are evolving. And if you're watching today, I want to thank you for your time. And I can assume that since you are watching, that you're one of the groups that I hang out with that wants to get better day by day by day. And you know it's up to you to do that. So thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up. I want to share some more information with you. So we're talking about the skills for success. We went all through the business building process. Then we went through the investing process and how to calculate returns and how to maximize returns and mitigate risk. And we went through all that. And now we're on this tangent called skills for success. And it's like, what does it take? I mean, what is the definition of success? What does it mean? We covered all that. And then what are the tools? What are the observations that we've made over the years and will be making in the years to come? These traits or characteristics that successful people have that we can emulate. And that's why you see a few books behind me. I read those to learn, because everything in there, there's something about those stories that either they overcame massive odds, grief, loss, setback, and he just kept going and kept going and kept going. This is why last week the first word I went into was called persistence, and we went over that. And that's what I learned from studying and reading and watching, observing other successful people. How do they do that? Because there's a saying, success leaves clues, and sure enough, they do. If you watch them, they don't have to tell you how they did it. All you got to do is watch them. You can see how they did it. So that's why I read all that stuff back there, so I can figure out if there's a pattern or a formula that I can apply. How can I apply? How can I use? Do I have to go learn everything via trial and error? Can I read about someone else doing it? Because, my tendency is just to go do something and figure it out. And, I had someone once tell me one time I really made this huge mistake in a seminar. And she goes, "That's okay, Donnie. We're just figuring out how much you know." So, well, we know I don't know this part. So I went and fixed it, and the next week I got a little better. So this is what I'm talking about: is what are the skills? What are the tools? How can we each learn something? It doesn't have to be a huge thing, but just something that can make us better day by day. It'll change our perspective, maybe change our outlook, maybe change in action, and maybe get us a better result. So thank you for showing up. Appreciate you being here. This is what I want to talk about today is one word can change your life. This word changed my life. I mean, when I got this, I thought I understood it. I thought I knew what it meant. Turns out I didn't. And I know I didn't, because when I really got it, I realized I didn't, because then I did. It's like you don't know something you don't know, right? Then you know it. Then you go, "Oh, right, I didn't know that." Kind of like that. So anyway, this will change your life. And so I'm going to read some of my notes. So pardon my earbuds. These are microphones. It helps the clarity of my speech. So bear with me and bear with me on my notes, please, if you don't mind. I'm just trying to organize my thoughts so I don't miss anything. I tend to be an abstract random thinker and trying to get all this stuff on one page is nothing for the faint of heart. So this word, once you, and you may already have it. I'm not saying you don't have it. I'm not saying you need to learn it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when I learned it, it created a massive change. And it will put you in the 1% of people in the world. Very few people in the world, from my observation, understand, apply, use this word, and play the game of life from this level. And it requires, if you want to do this, to play the game of life in a totally different way, at a totally different level. And very few people want to do that because it's easier not to. And my observation is that's why most people are not as successful as they say they want to be. It's because they don't want to get better. They just want it to be easier. And it's not going to get easier. So we got to get better. So thanks for showing up. I'll do my best to make sure your time is well spent. Now let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever made a mistake? Okay, good. How many of you blame someone else for that mistake? Okay, good. Normal. How many of you have ever come up short of a goal or a project and justified the outcome? Like, hey, nobody else did it either. Something like that. Okay, good. Now, how many of you have made a mistake and justified it? You didn't blame somebody, you justified it. Okay, good. So there's blame and there's justified. Well, by now, you probably figured out the word. So what is the word? The word I'm talking about is this right here. Playing from the point of view that you and you alone are responsible for all your outcomes. It means no more of this. And no more of this. It's this and only this. So if you want to play the game from the point of view, this game of life, that you're responsible, there's no one to blame, there's nothing to justify. I mean, there's an old adage, right? When you point at someone, there's three fingers pointing back. So there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there, and there's no one to blame. So once you play the life, this thing called life, you play this game from that point of view, everything changes. So it means you can no longer blame anyone or justify for any of your outcomes. It means you take responsibility for anything and everything that happens to you in this world, because they don't happen to you, you create them. That's responsibility. There are no victims, only volunteers. So you got to ask yourself, what do you volunteer for? It means not just taking responsibility, but also being accountable. Like I've had people in my organization go, yes, I'll be responsible for this project. Okay, good. All of it? Yeah, all of it. Then you make some decisions that go south. They don't want to own it. So they don't want to be responsible. They want to make the decision, but they don't want to be held accountable for the outcome. That's not responsible. That's selective responsibility. I'll be responsible, but only to a point. If it goes south, no. Ain't nobody making me wrong. All right. So let's give an example. Let's say that you're driving home, you're running an errand, you come through an intersection, you've been through it a million times, and out of the blue, someone runs a red light coming the other direction and smashes into you. Is it their fault? Yes. Is it a mess? Yes. Your life gets really bad really fast. It's all this stuff you got to do. The car gets stowed away, insurance, the rental car, replacement vehicle. You got to go buy something. It's a mess. And it's going to be really, really easy to say, your life is a mess right now. It's going to be messy for a little while, because of that person. Right? Right. Of course. So what do? You get your friends around and you tell them what happened. You show them the splint, talk about the pain, talk about the meds, talk about the moron, talk about the record driver, talk about the insurance moron. You talk about everything, all these morons. Suddenly you're on Moronville. You're surrounded by them. You're blaming this one, you're blaming that one. And there's plenty of blame to go around, and with good reason. And your friends nod in agreement. They console you, they agree with you. And what has actually happened now? What's the real word? What did they really do? They went into collusion with you. So, if you did all that and you had really a good friend who was conscious, they would probably say something like, well, why did you do that? Why did you create that? What's your lesson? I mean, what did you learn from all that? Now, this sounds crazy, right? I mean, what? What? They ran into me, moron. Now your friend's a moron. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting off of this. Getting off of this. If you had not been there, they wouldn't have hit you. If you had not been in the middle of that intersection, there would have been no collisions. So when you become responsible, you own that outcome. And then you start asking yourself the questions, which are, why did I do that? Why did I create that? Why did I bring that into my space? Why did I bring that into my life? Why have I created this mess? I've got enough to do. I don't need this. Why did I do that? Holy mackerel. What is wrong with me? How could I have avoided that? How could I have avoided that? So, see, your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. So, when you go to this point of view and you start asking yourself those kinds of questions, your life is going to get better. You know why? You don't learn anything here, right? When you're blaming someone else, your lessons are zero. You learn nothing. If you don't learn anything, you don't get better. And if you're justifying your behavior, you're just doomed to repeat it. You just justify it again. I mean, you've made the same mistake more than once. Okay, great. Slow learner. What's the biggest obstacle to learning? Ego. My point of view on mistakes, they're a gift from heaven. It's like, here's a lesson for you. You can get it down. You can get it next time, but here it is. Same with this. So you own it. Why did I do that? What did I learn? How did I create that? Why did I create that? There's a thought process you can go to clean that up. If you want to know about it, email me and I introduce you to my friend Jane. She will clean that thing up that fast. Or you can just go here and here. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just making a suggestion. If you want to change, you know the old saying, for things to change, first I must change. And if you're ready for change, then here's your word for the day. And this will change your life. Because when you own an accident that wasn't an accident that you created that someone else you can blame for, then everything changes. Sometimes things do happen to us we didn't want to happen. Okay. So if you want to, if it makes you comfortable, just ease into this. Take it a little level at a time. But your life will change in a degree that you take this on. Your life will change to the degree that you own this and play from this position. So whatever the reasons are, the question is, does it really matter? If you can't learn here and can't learn here, and this is the only place you learn, why would you play here and here at all? This is the only place to be. If this is where the learning takes place, why would you want to be anywhere else? All the other stuff is just noise. See? It's just stuff. So if you can get to the lesson and get to the thought, that's when change happens. So that's what the 1% lifestyle looks like and sounds like. Your choice. This has been Wednesdays with Wayne. That's my message for today. That's the word that'll change your life. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your time. I hope you found your time well spent. I'll see you next week on Wednesdays with Wayne. Let's go out and make it a better world. Thank you for your time. Bye.